So happy Wednesday, everybody. It's time for Wisdom Wednesday. As you can tell, we've changed up our template a little bit and just kind of get a new little window dressing going here. Hope you all had a wonderful new year and getting back to settling into a rhythm and a routine. And as such, I thought I would share with you the most recent book that I've read, which was Atomic Habits. Many of you may have read this already, and many of you may have not, but I think that it is appropriate to think about that at this time as we enter the new year and thinking about perhaps some habits that we might want to change or create some new habits and maybe break some old ones. I thought this book was enlightening and very refreshing and helpful because it's just good common sense and it's simple. And I think that that's the way we have to approach trying to make improvements, and certainly from our perspective, looking at ways to actually create health and benefit ourselves as we age. And you know, as they've said over and over and over, you can't really teach old dogs new tricks, but I think we can. And most of us are kind of old dogs. And so we have to look at ways that might enable us to move toward a more beneficial way to do a lot of things that we do in our lives. And a lot of it is just recognition. But in order to create a good habit, he has these 4 laws that he walks through in the book. First of all, make it obvious. Second law is make it attractive. Third law is make it easy. And the 4th law is to make it satisfying. I think, first of all, to make it obvious, we have to really sit down and look at our days and our routines. So many of the things we just do by rote, we don't even think about it. Just the way we get up, the way we start to move, the way we go and make our coffee, the way we get ready to go in the mornings, just that routine. That when we come home, do we just plop on the couch and throw on the TV, either play video games, or we just veg on the couch and really take a lot of time that could be productive and just turn it into mindless, non-productive time in our life. And it's not that we have to be productive all the time. I think honestly, we can actually have a lot of downtime, but how do we use that downtime in a way that is perhaps more meaningful? For a lot of us, as I look through habit forming, I like to go through the pillars of health, which we've talked a lot about. We look at diet, nutrition, and supplements. We look at exercise. We can look at sleep. We look at stress management, and then we look at hormonal balance. And in all of those areas, there are actual habits that we can develop that will move us in a better direction. For instance, in our diet, as we've talked a lot about insulin resistance, and we've talked about the fact that we tend to eat too much processed food, and we're just coming off the holidays, and I'm sure just like everybody else, I can be just as prolific in getting into trouble as anybody. But I think that it's important when we do fall off the reservation, so to speak, we get back on track and really try to stay focused. And we've talked too, it's not about perfection. It's about just progress and staying on task. And when we do mindfully choose to get off track, we get mindfully back on it. But knowing that we need to have less sugar, we need to have less starch, we need to have less processed foods, less fast foods. We need to eat more healthy fats and good healthy proteins, get more protein in. I think a lot of us really lack that, and we need to drink more water. So what are simple ways that we can do drinking water? Well, for instance, you can get a water bottle that's measured, that has, I have one here that has all the different labels on there, and I fill that every day and try to get that at least 1 or 2 of those down each day, just staying hydrated. That's a huge thing for health. And that's a simple little thing to do, to get and fill up and do your best to try to drink water. Other things that we can do as far as exercise is concerned, we can just get our exercise clothes out in the morning And, he talks about these little 2-minute things that you can do of just putting on your shoes. And if you just put on your shoes and go, say, I'm just going to walk for 2 minutes, it then develops and can move forward into getting good, easy walking done. And then if you want to progress on into further and further ways to increase your movement, whether you do a 3K, a 5K, do a half marathon, etc., or just getting to the gym and doing your workouts and making sure you get upper body, lower body, getting your core done and doing some interval work, doing some breathing work with either a Pilates or a yoga, just getting clothed and getting your shoes on will move you closer and closer to whatever that goal may be. And you're the only one that can really figure out what are your goals going to be. And we talked a little bit about that last week, but to really sit down and set forth a goal and then develop a routine. As he said, we've all said it takes 3 weeks to change it. Well, it's not so much the time as he discusses it. It's more how much are you doing it? And you have to do it a lot, whether you do it 2 times in 3 weeks, that's not going to do it. But if you do it 200 times in 3 weeks, then yes, you're going to probably have some consistency there, which will help drive whatever habit it is that you're trying to work on. And it's just as much of getting rid of bad habits as it is getting toward developing really good habits. We know that we spend a lot more time on devices and really learning how to turn these things off. I know for a lot of people, you have to really even turn off your internet at the house. And many people do that anyway, just to lower EMFs in the house and in the home. You can spend much more. We're, I think, isolating so much more now with what we've had to deal with COVID for the last year, 2 years, 3 years almost now. And so getting out and developing more relationally and spending time with people and in conversation, not just texting people or liking something online. It's really getting to be with people and enjoying the company of others. So I hope that you make some plans in your goals for the year to spend more time developing and maintaining really good, healthy relationships, not only with your partner, but with other friends and family. And then I think it's important too to understand the real importance of sleep and getting that good, healthy sleep and developing good nighttime hygiene habits, as they say. And if you really want to go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, you just start developing routines where you turn off devices at 10 o'clock, and then you make sure that you do whatever you do for your bedtime preparation by 10 o'clock. And then you start to get into bed by 10 o'clock, and then ultimately you'll begin to go to sleep at 10 o'clock and get a good 8 hours of sleep and wake up at 6 in the morning, or however you choose to do that, 11 to 7. I think that as humans, we're designed to go with the sun, so to speak. Well, we're not going to go down at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, although in past times people did, and they went down with the sun and up with the sun. And I think that is a rhythm that's very beneficial, and using light is very beneficial in terms of setting our circadian rhythm, getting that blue light in the morning and making sure that you get outside. And that's a simple thing to do too, even if it's just taking your coffee and sitting on a porch, even if it's covered, just so that you can develop that good, healthy blue light accommodation and acclimation, and getting that into your body so that it can work on the ganglia behind your eye and really set that rhythm in your day. So I do think that it's possible to teach old dogs new tricks. I would encourage you, if you really have struggled in the past or are struggling with certain types of habits, you might want to pick this book up by James Clear, I believe is the author, and pick up his book, yes, James Clear, and Atomic Habits, and read through it. And as you read through it, realize that he wants to keep it simple. Find those things that are obvious in your life that you really do feel like you need to change. Try to make it as attractive as possible. Then look at simple ways to approach it and then try to find where that satisfaction of doing that, because if it's not satisfying to us as humans, we really aren't going to kind of stick with it. But I think he gives us some really good examples and some great ideas. And as we approach this new year, getting a plan, looking for ways that we can become as healthy as possible, and then finding those habits that will help us continue in that direction will be vital. So hopefully that can be very helpful for us as we move forward and develop these really good habits as old dogs. I think we can do it. Until next week, you all have a great week.